Hello everybody, welcome to the stream. Welcome to a belt buckles and boots stream. Hello everyone watching this live, welcome in. Everyone watching this back on YouTube, also hello. And yeah, welcome in. I haven't actually checked this is working, so I best quickly check it. I always like to check only previous streams where I've been caught out and I've spoken for what seems like quite a long time, only to have the volume not on. And it's embarrassing, but no, it seems to be working. Anyway, yeah, so welcome in. Anyone live or not watching, or watching this back on YouTube, we do have a playlist with all these streams on, so feel free to go check them out. Hello, Tim. Welcome into the chat. I will apologise to everyone in the chat early, although I'm a minute early on the stream. I was a bit rushed today, so the little reminder video went out late, and then I hope to get the stream up early, just so you know it was coming, but I didn't get a chance. I had to put my daughter to bed, so but we're here. Right. So what we're doing, we're finishing off the. Let me clear my space. I bought some cavalry bases the other day, and war bases. Not that really matters, but it's in the way on the desk, so I thought I'd talk about it. So yeah, let's get them out of the way. Oh, I've had a day, that's for sure. I've over the weekend I've been prepping some Napoleonic French, and that's just taken up all my time at the moment. So I've spent hours and hours on it this weekend, getting them all based. I've just managed to get a bunch primed. So yeah, it's coming along, right? But we are finishing the amulets today, hopefully. Anyway, yeah, go back to hello, Tim. You had a good weekend, good week. You and also, what are you working on, or are you working on anything? Drinks down here, good. I bought a drink. It's a thirsty sort of day today. So I think we're going to run this stream until we complete the ambulance, and then I'll just see if I've got any steam in me to keep going, and we can possibly have a look at starting these Uavs. Yeah, we had obviously a great little donation last week or the week before? I think it was during last stream. Was it? No, stream before. And Thomas has donated some Warlord Games headquarter units as well as some Zouaves, so I think that's probably going to be our next stream. The only problem is my Warlord order turned up when I wasn't in, so Royal Mail posted when do you want to redeliver, so I selected it for the Monday just gone and it still hasn't turned up, so I don't know where that's gone. It's into the ether now, I think, so but we'll see. Hopefully we'll get it in time for something. So yeah, anyway, we're going to carry on with this. So what a weekend. My rugby team won today, which is good. Although I haven't managed to sit down and watch the highlights yet, so we'll watch that later. But Tim, catching up on my ACW bits and pieces. I'm about to pull the trigger on a Punic War project with a buddy. Oh, nice. Is that 28mm, or you thinking epic, or smaller again? But yeah, cool. Obviously, I've done quite a few 28mm Romans, Republican Romans. Oh, I've already done him. That's good. So yeah, it's a great period. It's a really great period. I'll paint the back of it, even though you're not going to really be able to see it. Okay, so last stream. Hello, Mark, by the way, welcome in. Been trying to connect on a desktop, and it's not working for some reason, so that's fun. Hang on, let me see if I can just text something out for you a minute, mate. Yeah, you should be in, mate. Try it now. You should be in. 28mm, says Tim. Nice. Yeah, what are you going with? Obviously, you've got... I know Victrix does good sort of Punic-y Republican Roman era. And then... I'm not that clued up on it now these days, unfortunately. What have you got? Begins with A. Oh, I can't remember the company name, but they've done some Republic stuff. And then I know Warlord does Caesarian Romans a bit later, but oh, you're in. That's good, Mark. I'm glad it worked out. Anyway, so last stream I was talking about painting the cuffs on the medical staff. I don't know what you call them. Medical officer at least, plus an orderly or something. But I didn't have a green. So today, I left it last minute, but today I went out and bought a green. So we've got two greens. It's really hard to know what colour you want to go off, really. I found online the Absolution green. I found that online as like a colour comparison, and that probably looks like the one we're going to be using. And then I picked up Orc Skin as just a maybe. I don't know. I'm going to try them both. We'll try them on this base. See what they look like. Because I'm looking at doing some Napoleonics next year. I think we've already spoken about this on the stream, but I've been building up some Napoleonics. I've got a mate who's doing Russians for the War of 1812, and I'm going to do French. So I've literally spent all weekend building up these models with the idea of, probably next year cracking into them and trying to get some nice 28mm done. And I need greens for the elite companies. So yeah, all right. I think it's pretty obvious our winner on the colours. That Orc Skin one is very obviously it's still wet right now, but I think the darker of the two, which is what I was thinking of going for anyway, this Absolution green, I think that's going to do it. My buddy hasn't decided his ancients yet, but it'll be an army to oppose my Republican Romans. Nice. Well, do you know what's really nice about the Carthage Wars is the fact that there's a company called Little Big Men Studios. Although they're not Little Big Men anymore, are they? Are they bought out by Victrix now? Anyway, they do absolutely cracking shield transfers. And it just really lifts the miniatures, in my opinion. All my Republican Romans are all shield transfers on them, and they just look smashing. So, Absolution green, yes, says Tim. Yeah, I'm going to go with it. I knew I would go with that one. I felt like I had to try, at least. Oh, I've damaged this model somehow. That's good. That's a good start. But yeah, I think this would be a good green for doing for my elite companies, for the French as well. For my the light company in my battalions when I get around to it. I'm really looking forward to that project. Quite going to be quite of I wouldn't say intimidating. It's just going to be a lot of work. At the moment, I've got 8 battalions of infantry painted up, built, more or less built. I've got 8 battalions of infantry, probably 4 regiments of cavalry, an artillery piece, and then I'm sort of fudging a couple of HQ command bases out of spares and stuff like that. Because I've had the Warlord Games French starter box set, but it's like the Waterloo French starters. So I'm trying to make them fit into 1812, which I think they do, and they're all wearing great coats, which is great. Because anyone who doesn't know, the 1812, or the part of 1812 that I'm doing is the Russian camp, so the invasion of Russia from Napoleon, and it's pretty cold there. It snowed a bit. So yeah, the fact that they're all in great coats, I think, works well. But yeah, out of that sort of box set, I've managed to squeeze out a couple of brigade commands. I'm going to be using General d'Armée as well, which, by the looks of it, is something that Pickett's Charge is. It's very similar rules, and Pickett's Charge is a rule set I want to use for the Meg Civil War. So it's kind of nice to have these 2 rule sets. I mean, you could say using black powder across 2 periods would work the same. But these 2 rule sets are obviously flavoured for both periods, but have some similar rules between them. So me playing my Napoleonic stuff would actually be beneficial towards my American Civil War gameplay. So it's all good. How are you, Mark? Anyway, are you good? Sorry, I didn't really say. I was chatting. Are you well? Are you well? Must admit, I've had a very lazy weekend, but I feel like I've achieved quite a bit. So it's been a good weekend. So Tim talking about Republican Romans, lots of enemies. Agreed. Yeah. So you've got like the African nations as well. Would be quite cool to do. Obviously having different Punic wars, you can pick and choose. Hannibal being one of them. All good, bud. Yeah, I'm all right. Thanks, says Mark. Good. Playing Digimon World 3 while you chat and paint away. What is Digimon World 3? What is that? But also, sorry, bouncing back to Tim, talking about sort of Republican Romans and Punic Wars and stuff. You could sort of look at maybe earlier stages of like the unification of Italy and stuff under Rome. That'd be quite cool. The Samnites, is it? The Samnites are one of the first sort of. They're quite big, and then the Etruscans. I'm not that clued up. Right. So I've got my little bit of green. I need to do a bit more black there. This officer is almost done. We're not miles away from completing. I need to do the metals on there. Let's crack on with a horse, I think. It's a really old PlayStation 1 game, Digimon World 3. I stumbled across something on Instagram, Mark, of a Final Fantasy VII. Someone chatting about it. Now that is my childhood, and we should play it sometime. That'd be really cool. I'm going to go back to the pens, just because they act sort of like a paintbrush sometimes. So I'm gonna just go in there with the horse stuff. I can't really see what I'm going to be painting anyway. Yeah, I think that's right. And then we've got what I can only assume is a metal chain, which is linking the cart to the horse's necklace. I don't know what you call it. Good evening, Robert. Good evening. All hope you're all well and still not feeling brilliant. Hopefully getting back to painting soon. Oh, sorry you're not feeling great, but yeah, hopefully be picking them brushes up soon and back into it. Mark says Final Fantasy VII is the pinnacle of gaming. Yeah, I had it on PlayStation 1, played it an incredible amount of times, and I don't feel like I ever got anywhere with it. And then one time, an old friend of mine came over and we sat there and played it. And I think this was obviously on PlayStation 1, and yeah, it came with 2 discs. And we got onto the second disc. I remember thinking that was big. But yeah, I remember as kids, like never really getting out the starter bit. And yeah, one day me and my mate just pulled an all-nighter. But yeah, the good old days. Oh, right. I think we're going to... Let's just do the hair on these guys. So, what did I see? Someone saying Agaros Dunes is a good blonde hair colour. That's what I saw online. which, yeah, I think I agree. Do I want to check on these guys? I'm not sure. I think I might as well. That guy's definitely got... Yeah, he should be alright to do it too. Ah, a remake would be amazing. Yeah, I agree. I'd be up for playing that. I think as a kid, I never really understood those sort of games, you know. So God knows what I did when it came to like leveling people up and stuff. I don't even know if that was if there was a not really option to customize your guys or not really. I don't remember much of it. Gunfighter as well. I had Gunfighter on PlayStation 1. I remember just watching my big sister play them in our kitchen because we had a little TV in the kitchen. And she used to play it there. Let's go Wildwood for these bits. Why not? Oh, the remake is absolutely amazing. Oh, sorry, I misread. Oh, I'll have to check it out. Robert, are the pens any good? The pens are like felt tip pens. I don't know how to explain them really. Obviously, I'm using metallics. There is some obviously normal colours in there. I don't know. Are the pens any good for things that like if you're not looking for a fine point, you know, anything that I was painting that didn't need to be fine point and it wasn't in a difficult position, then yeah, I would say they're fine. It's just, you know, in a position, say if I was painting swords all day, it'd be perfect because otherwise I'm having to go to my metallic paint pot and keep dipping and painting and dipping. Whereas that you can just and get it in there, which is, yeah, good. But anything a bit fiddly, I think the tip's just a bit too big. Yeah, the tip's big. So I think if you were really trying to get in anywhere, I just don't know if you would. I picked them up because I was really curious about them. And yeah, I think the silver I picked up is quite a light silver and not something that really works with what I want to do. I'm still going to try use it in places, but and the gold, I like the gold. What I plan on doing with the gold is just hitting that as a base and then going over it with a wash and then highlighting. Oh yeah, that's like a you can't. If I turn the light on, you know. I'm trying this Agros Dunes for a blonde. I'm gonna try that out. I put a post up on the channel earlier today, just showing off my French I've been working on, my Napoleonic French. Be interested to see if people think that's something they'd like to see on the channel. Don't know. Whether it's videos or maybe live streams. Yeah, so yeah, just let me know what you think. Obviously, we do a lot of American Civil War here, and it's my main collection focus. However, there's nothing stopping us doing something. But also, if people are here for the American Civil War stuff, it's we don't have to explore the. Robert makes a good point. Can you trim the tips for a fine nib? Oh. So there's our tip. It is a felt tip, a bit like a felt pen. Felt tip pen. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I want to risk ruining a pen over it. But I guess I don't see why not. It's just like a felt tip pen, so you probably can shave that down a bit. I don't know what this is. What this guy's holding. This guy down here. Like holding a stick or something. Maybe I just paint that as wood. He's going to be sitting in the back of the cart, so... Right. Well... Cool. So I've got to do the evening, Thomas. Welcome in. Welcome in. How are you? How are you this fine day? Right, we're going to get on with the metals in here. We are just chugging along with our little ambulance. We're not doing too bad. Should have probably started on the actual ambulance itself sooner, because once this is finished painting, I'll glue it on the base. And the whole thing's going to start taking shape then. I'll need to varnish it, but I think I'll varnish that once it's on the base, so I'll do that another time. The main thing is getting all the dudes on. I want to do some freehand writing on the side of this. Just not sure how I'm going to go about that. Maybe a bit of research is needed. Just see how they wrote. Because I think I want to mark it up as a first core ambulance. Just not quite sure yet. Right. Let's get this thing painted. That should be good with fire drake. How are you, Thomas? Anyway, you working on anything this weekend, or you got a weekend off? I've been building up some Napoleonic 28mm French. That's pretty much taken up my whole free time this weekend. I went out last night and saw like a Christmas light show, which was nice. Took my daughter out. Yeah, apart from that, I've spent actually quite a lot of time doing a bit hobbying this weekend, which is a bit unusual for me. Yeah, I spent a lot of time, and it's all been sort of gluing and painting up miniatures. I'm varnishing some Metal Command figures using the matte varnish and they are coming out quite glossy. I've had something similar with some matte varnish I used from Army Painter. This was years ago now, but it came out really shiny. And yeah, are you using spray or is this brush on varnish? I've started using a brush on. So yeah, I use Army Painter anti-shine matte varnish. That's what I've been using for mine. And yeah, like, on camera it surprisingly shows up quite shiny, but in person it's not. I remember I when I did my video on my bird down sharpshooters, someone commented saying how they're really shiny, and I'm like, well, in person they're not. It's just the varnish I used. Played another campaign battle yesterday. It's now about halfway finished. Oh, nice. What was the result? What was that? Secret. Ooh. I don't look forward to painting cavalry, but metal. I found I'm chatting to a mate of mine who's started this Napoleonic hobby, this Napoleonic site like army with me, or whatever. And he's the same. He's like, I'm not touching metals, but I think he comes from like a GW metals, whereas yeah, I agree the metals can be a pain. I always find my metals chip. They're always chipping. However, I'm happy to look past that when you see what the detail you get in some of these metal sculpts. They're just absolutely rammed. And like, for example, this officer, I think he just looks really nice. Or all of them really. Yeah, they just look great, I think, in my opinion. And I'm willing to look past the chipping. And in a bad way, I don't gain that much. So they don't get, there's no risk of them getting damaged. But yeah, we'll see. Saying like how the rule system I'm looking at playing with my mate for Napoleonics, it will be a similar system to Pickett's Charge, which I want to play with my American Civil War. So I'm hoping that because they're quite similar systems, I can kind of get my mate to try a few American Civil War games. But we'll see. We'll see. So these guys might get a run out. Union had a narrow victory, finished in a few hours, and sat and done some painting. Oh, very nice. What are you painting up at the moment, Thomas? So yeah. We'll see. These guys might get a run out. What's next? Super thirsty. So the horse can be probably washed now. Got to try figure out how I do. Let's quickly Google it, actually. Let's see. ACW ambulance. See what comes up. See what comes up. No one really puts markings on their ambulances, I've noticed, across the ranges. I don't fancy writing ambulance. Alright, let me... Just finishing with my crossbelts and equipment for the 1st Virginia Regular Battalion, the Irish Battalion. Ah, nice. Very nice, mate. Rose crown probably for. Just trying to see if I can see anything like markings or anything like that on the ambulances. I don't think they will, but I don't think we'll have. I don't think. Did they have Red Cross back then? I don't think so. Oh, found a. Anyway, maybe we'll leave markings for now. Anyway, Tim says, I agree on the sculpts. I did the same as you. I bought the 14th Brooklyn Metal, and then Warlord bought out theirs. So I bought those too. I have 54th Mass in Metal and a British Intervention Force. Oh, you got a British Intervention Force, Tim. Nice. That's something I've been looking a lot at recently. Some British Intervention. I just get caught in a trap of trying to do everything historically accurate. But it's so hard to find much on a what-if scenario. So I'm trying to track down sort of what units were stationed there after everything kicked off. Just so in the case of the Trent affair, obviously becoming worse than it was. I'm trying to figure out sort of what units would be there to fight it. And I know you'd have a lot of Canadian militia and whatnot. So yeah, you could argue that a lot of Canadian militia and what Glencarry hats, but and I know you got some sort of guards there as well, some foot guards, as well as some sort of normal line infantry regiments, battalions. Yeah, it's hard to find if I wanted to build a division or something like that, the British. It's hard to know what to go with unless I just say sod it and just do my own thing. You know, we know. I know. In fact, I'll read out what we know were. So this is what we knew was in the area. Early 1862, you had the 1st Battalion of Grenadier Guards, the 2nd Battalion of Scots Fusilier Guards, 1 company of the 1st Battalion of the 16th Regiment. You had the 62nd Regiment, 63rd Regiment, 1st Battalion of the Rifle Brigade. So that's all the infantry. And then we had some artillery. And some engineers. So we know we've got them. So, you know, you've got a handful of battalions you could do. And then you'd have a lot of militia. But yeah, trying to figure out what British regulars are sort of in the vicinity, or what would have likely been shipped over if the war would kick off with the British. So yeah, it's an interesting one, but I think it's a bit like what I'm trying to do now with my French, where I'm trying to stick to historical stuff, and I'm at a point now where I need to buy flags for them all, and then I check the Warlord box and it's come with a load of flags, so pretty much everything I need, but it's not the flags I want. And then I'm like, well, how precious is it to have a historical accurate brigade when I could just do what I want, you know? Yeah, I'm a stickler for trying to do it that way, when actually I should just say balls to it, you know? But, yeah. Hey, we all like the hobby for different reasons, don't we? And I like to try to do it as accurate as I can. But so far, for my French, I've got 8 battalions of infantry built, and they are representing the 72nd Foot, 4 battalions of that, and then I've currently got 4 battalions of the 24th Light Infantry, and then 2 battalions of the 46th Infantry Battalion Regiment. So yeah, it's and then I've got some Italians, some Italian Royal Guard Velites. So yeah, but again, you know, it's the only reason why I've got the Italians there is because I bought some Victrix French a long time ago. I started building them up, and actually I like the idea of the Italian uniforms. So, and then yeah, there were technically Italians involved in 1812 invasion of Russia. So I was like, oh, okay, it would make like it's not too out of place for them to be there. So, but yeah, maybe I'm just like, oh, do you know what, sod it. I've got flags from Warlord Games. I've got like 8 first like battalion flags, and then the Fanians, Fanians, I think they call them. So like the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th battalions and 5th battalions. So I've got like 2 sets of them. So I could easily do 2 first battalions and then have a bit of fun with it. So I'm going to see. I'd recommend looking into the units involved with the Fenian Risings in Canada. Yeah, I did look into that. It's again, that's a handy one. I did have a ganders. Tim said, if you go with what if, you can look at British forces worldwide and imagine how they would have been sent to Canada. Yeah, that's what I was looking at. Sort of like stuff stationed in the Caribbean as well. And yeah, I went down a pretty deep rabbit hole a while back. But then, I don't know, like, how accurate does it need to be? You know, it's nice to do, because I like to think of it as a bit of a lesson as well, you know. You're always learning about it, but ultimately, and I think at the time they had enough equipment for 25,000 Canadian militia, and then when it all kicked off with those dastardly Yanks, they started like sort of a reforms in Canada for like certain military stuff, and one of them was being they've started to train up. They want to train up a load more Canadian militia with the idea of having like nearly 100,000 ready by like the end of 1863 or something like that. But obviously the Trent Affair sort of fizzled out by the time that plan came together, so it never really happened. But then also you kind of think about the whole situation with the Trent Affair, and realistically, what would Britain have done against the US militarily? I think their navy would play a big role. I think they would break blockades or blockade ports themselves, but I kind of pictured it, if I were going to do an intervention force or a campaign around it, I think I would have British navies breaking the blockade of southern ports, and then maybe stationing troops to garrison those ports, whether that's in forts and stuff like that. So a bit more of like a defensive role. I know they had a campaign of going in Pennsylvania. I can't remember now. They drafted like a battle plan of what they should do, but I think, you know, if the British were realistically mustering 50,000 troops at the start of the Trent Affair, you know, by then you had McClellan with like 120,000 troops or something like that. So yeah, the Union had big armies. And I read up a really interesting thing about the American Civil War, how the way the American army was built and set up, I think it really played into the hands of sort of learning on the job, you know. I think you had a lot of green troops coming in and having to learn, as well as officers coming in and having to learn. And I think maybe that's why the war and the armies developed like they did. Whereas I think if you had a British army coming in, I'm honestly not sure that they would be able to keep up with how war evolved during the American Civil War. I think the officer corps would be too stubborn, and I just don't think they would be trying to fight it with these outdated tactics. A bit like how the American Civil War, how it started. You know, they were very much on Napoleonic War tactics at the start, but but during the war, you just see it evolve into like trench warfare almost. But I just wonder if the British don't keep up with that, and then at that point, probably the American armies are going to be doing a number on them. Thomas said, yeah, I reenacted as a Fenian soldier of the 1866 and 1867 Rising in Canada, then Ireland. Oh, wow. Yeah, it didn't go too well for them in Canada, did it? I can't remember the battle. Was there sort of one battle or something like that? I can't remember what it's called now. But that's an interesting period, yeah. Again, you have all these ex-soldiers from the Civil War. Interesting. Right, let's... Another thing about the Trent Affair is a number of Fenian officers in the US and Union Army had drafted their orders to the Fenian groups in Ireland to prepare to fight Britain in Ireland. Oh, I see. So it's almost like they've been plotting. No, it's an interesting what if. I'm not sure. I think it would have gone well for Britain, but then you don't know really. There was so much more to it than just battlefield, I think. And again, it's like this whole early war support for the Confederacy. You know, I think Europe soon realised they probably don't want to throw their lot in with the Confederates. But then if you have something like the Trent Affair happen, it kind of forces people's hands then. Maybe. Right, I'm pretty sure this bit of trousers is going to be higher, so we're going to do it higher. All right. What's that? Cool. These guys. This base is basically done, I think. I think. Again, having the white on the base just messes things with things slightly. You almost need a darker base to really be able to see what the rest of it's doing. Like I find by the time I put the muddy base on, it just everything becomes a bit more tied in. It's a bit like when you put Agrax Earthshade on a model. Just starts to bring in all those colours. Or any wash, I guess. Agrax is my favourite, so I don't get to use it anymore. Don't tend to use it. Ah, be careful not to overdo it tonight. Just I've had horrendous headache over the past couple of nights. Last night I was in bed by about 8:30, I think. Ugh. Tried to get out and do stuff, and I was like, no, I'm sitting down, go to sleep, and I did. Right, this horse, I'm going to call it done, and he's going to be glued onto horse. There you go on there. It's coming. Ooh, it's coming together. It's coming together. Yes, I remember my glue. I've been using this glue, but the lid always sticks on. So I've got 2 tubs because one sort of glued itself, so I started using another one. And today, its lid glued itself. But you find they don't really glue them. Ooh, saying that. They don't really glue themselves that much. But this one has now. Come on. I haven't got any proper pliers either. It's annoying. Right. Might be a bottle of glue dead now. I can't get the lid off. Ah! It's a good start. It was working fine yesterday. Earlier on, and then it just... Let's use this one. Okay. When you're working with super glue, I guess it's going to come along very well. That's going to look great when it's finished. Thank you. Yeah, I hope so. I'll just have it as a piece to show off on the table. Right, someone sent me a message. Is that you, Tim? Ah, nice. Some surgeon. Ah, very nice. Everything's cool, man. Okay. So I might have overdone it on the green very slightly, Tim, but it looks nice, I think. Makes him stand out a bit. Right, so this can be glued. I'll let the horse dry a minute. Then we're going to glue the wagon down like that. And then let me just double check these guys. These guys are sort of ready to go. Although I might just paint that rim of that trouser there. That is obvious that it's the trousers and not part of the bandage, and I painted it as part of the bandage. Cool. Yeah. So we'll glue this cart in place and then worry about the other stuff. So I think what I'm going to do is just put a bit on there and then a bit on there. Oh, not quite. That's sitting like that. That's fine. Looking good, thank you. I think so. I want it to put. I don't want it to be too crammed on the base, But then also I don't want a whopping great base, and also this is the biggest base I've got here. That is, I've got a big square one, but I think I prefer the natural oval. Yeah, I don't think I've got any other bigger bases, so this is what's going to be. And then we could get this guy now. Although I've just broken his paint off his foot. Oh, Chappie sat in there. I don't know if he's meant to be facing the horse or what. I don't really know. Maybe a photo might help. Okay, it does look like he's looking off to the side. Maybe we'll glue him down. Why not? We might have to come in and touch him up again, but there we go. We're going to have these two guys fishing him out the back. Fishing him out or putting him in, who knows. So his chaps at the back there. Looks pretty good, actually. Cool. And this just leaves the main man, but also I'm not finished with this guy, so it's even more. Just got to finish his sword off and his buttons. Shouldn't be too much. Oh, I haven't done gold on his shoulder bars. That's annoying. They're the most important bit. Are there any good eyes? All right. Shoulder bars done. I might get the basing material out actually and do that. It gives us something to do. So he's just going to sit there a minute, drying. And then yeah, It's looking pretty swish, I think. Ah, there is some metallics on the actual ambulance that I could paint. Probably should have painted before I stuck them in, but well. Just part of the back hinge of the door. Is there any other metal bits we can put in? Don't really know. So I've gone for like a brown ambulance, but this picture here shows a green one. But hey ho. I could potentially look at dry brushing the cloth, maybe. Oh, could be an idea. Paint a bit of this wood bit under here that I missed because I don't know why I missed it. I don't know. Something I saw. I was looking at Martin from Seventh Son. I think it was Martin. Looking at their Napoleonic French range, and they've done like a sort of a scenic base of a. Now, was it an ambulance? I think there was two parts. There was he was talking about an ambulance, and another one was some hussars riding past a wounded soldier. I can't. It was one of them, but he basically at part of the base he had like a road, and then sort of did a tracked road going through. And I thought it was just a really cool idea, rather than just sort of having an open battlefield, having a bit more something in there. So I don't know if I can do it on this base, but maybe something in the future. I've got some sort of wooden logs and that I 3D printed a long time ago. I've not really got a use for them. I printed them for an army for Warhammer the Old World, but it doesn't really make sense to have loads of logs and stuff on miniature little bases. So it's probably more reserved for more diorama style bases. Couldn't think of the word. Right, so let me give him a touch of blue wherever my blue's gone. Oh, this is a fun game. Is that it though? Yeah. This is Leviathan blue is the blue I'm thinking of doing for my Napoleonic French, because they're going to be painted with speed paints. So I'd be interested to hear people's thoughts. Don't know if anyone's had a crack at Napoleonics in contrast paints or speed paints. Also, as a heads up of what we're going to do on next stream, we're going to be looking at some fire zouaves. So yeah, we need probably worth talking about their uniforms. I've got them what looks like the first Manassas style, sort of messy, non-uniform uniform, which I'm looking forward to painting. But I think it's going to be a bit of reds, a bit of whites, sort of white shirts, red shirts, possibly dark blue. So yeah, interesting to hear people's thoughts on that. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get ahead of just round where these bodies are on the floor. I'm going to put down some dark brown paint, because then I'm not trying to get it's going to be harder for me to get close to the bodies with the basing material, whereas if all the sort of white around them's gone, it's going to put less strain on me having to get close to the basing material, because I don't want any white poking through. I'm trying to get rid of all that white with that sort of thick basting paste, is a pain, and then it is a higher chance of me getting basing stuff all over my miniatures. So I don't want to. I mean, yes, I've used speed paints, but I've still spent time on them. So yeah. Top tip for anyone out there, maybe. Who knows? If you base the same as me, maybe think about doing this. I'll quickly show you. Well, although you probably can see, but just go around the guys on the floor with this paint, because this thin paint's going to get in the gaps easier. And then when I come in with my ground stuff, yeah, otherwise I'm just going to have to try force this ground stuff into the side of these to get in there, and then I'll just get it on the model, and then it'll look rubbish. I think it'll look rubbish too. Let's help future Matt out, I guess. This old trusty wild wood that comes to the rescue. What a paint that is. If I had a choice, if I could be sponsored by a paint, I think it would be Citadel Contrast Wildwood paint. It's my favourite. We'll chuck it on here as well. There's no need to, apart from I'm having fun. But it's definitely worth doing this ahead of the basing, because contrast's good, but the fact that your undercoat is white, any bits you don't get just shows through. It's almost like, well, I'm half tempted to just give everything a wash afterwards. I hit a wash on it after, so any little bits I can't get. Because also I do notice with the wildwood, contrast paint. Sorry, I do notice with the contrast paints that they sometimes they dry, not patchy, but they'll you'll see some of the base underneath it. Then you'll kind of go back in, sort it all out. So. There we go. That's sort of done, maybe. Thomas, personally, I use Prussian Blue by Valio for my French. As far as Zouaves, I would use Mark's Maritato's painting as a reference. Has a few that depict the Far Zouaves. Yeah, I'll give my normal go-to is Don Triani. I really like his stuff. But yeah, I'll have a look around and see what's out there. I think I say this most streams that I need to do a bit of homework ahead of next stream. I never do, and then it sort of stalls me in my stream, but I will, I promise. But yeah, you've gone for Prussian Blue as well. Yeah, I think I'm... So this Leviathan Blue that I've been using from Citadel is close enough to my original painting, which was Dark Prussian Blue from Valio. The Lolo, should I say. Don has also done some good paintings. Both have similar styles of painting. Yeah, I do like him. It's very... He's a very talented... In fact, I've got one of his books downstairs. Uniforms of the American Civil War. And I'm saying that I've got a lot of the Osprey Men at Arms books, so maybe I should have a look through them. But anyway, so my officer is probably gonna stand somewhere here, like he's looking at these two chaps on the floor. So that's where I'm going to chuck this guy. Is that a bit of it's a bit of metal now showing off the back of that guy's head? Just a minute. Splodge a bit of paint on there. I said we're going to varnish this anyway. It's going to be. I probably should have varnished it before I glued it all together. I like making more work for myself. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this. Looks nice. What I might do is just put a load of contrast down on the base, so then we get to see what it looks like. Unless I do some basing material, I might do actually. And then I think what I will do is, I might make it look like a bit like a side of a road. Give me 1 second. I'll be back in a second. Forgot where I put them, but I've got them. So I've got these things. I'm sure I've showed these off on the channel before, but these are bits from First Core. So they're actually sort of resin pieces, but they're sort of some are guns, some are blanket rolls, some little bags. Here we've got a little chest with a bottle, like a tankard on. I did these ages as just scatter for battlefield stuff, but I thought it'd actually be good to maybe butcher these and chuck them on the ambulance base. So let's see how we can get into these. Let's see if we can get into them, because it'd be nice to have. What I was about to say is have this as a bit of like almost like a checkpoint. So where the carriage is now, have that maybe sculpt it as a bit of a road. And then have belongings and what dumped on the side. Just got to figure out how I'm going to get to these, because they were thin little resin pieces that I have since glued onto. Worried I'm going to damage them. It was good. So what? Yeah, I broke it. First Core they put a load of their stuff up on eBay. A long time ago, they had a little eBay shop. So I just found myself buying stuff off them, their eBay shop. But then I think they've stopped doing it now. And it's all back on their main website. I don't see why you couldn't... Right, I've lost that now. It's fallen down on the floor. And it's gone. Oh, I found it. Right. So we have got a little box. I might glue there. But yeah, so I bought some of these a while back, and yeah, just a couple of packs I think I bought. But they are nice. Right, where's my blade gone? I used to have a little metal blade, and I don't know where I've gone now. I'm hoping it hasn't gone missing since my daughter's been up here. I've painted a number of ACW backpacks for use as shock markers. Yeah, that's a good idea. It's a very good idea. Yeah, again, I kind of had these as something I thought I'd do for just a scatter to chuck on. I've glued this lid on. Just chuck on the table, but never really done it. Come on, glue, don't let me down. Need you. Right, so let's chuck this box here, I reckon. And then, although that's a Confederate helmet, hat. How's that gonna look? They got any? No. Let's see what else I've got. Okay, we've got a pistol and a Union hat. Oh, sorry, you printed a number of ACW. Sorry, my reading is awful. You printed a number of... yeah, that's good. Where'd you get the backpacks from? Out of curiosity. Just cut that base away, we don't need it. All right. I don't know if this is going to look good, but I think we'll try it. Kind of annoying I've lost my blade, because that would be really helpful right now. Let's get rid of the... In fact, we'll stick the Confederate hat the other side. Why not? Just stick that in there, why not? I probably should have just started again on the painting these. Confederate hat can just be on the floor over here. Why not? Although, chuck it down there. You get trampled. Cool. I would quite like one of those guns, to be honest. This might be a bit tricky. War Games Atlantic Iron Brigade STLs. I use the heads that are awesome on the Perry and Warlord figures. Oh, nice. I've been looking a fair bit at some more STL styles, admittedly for Napoleonics, but the piano War Games ones, they look very, very nice. I've looked at the War Games Atlantic American Civil War stuff as well in the past. I'm not against it. And again, I still have some Battlecat on order. So yeah, I'll see how they come. That'd be good to get stuck into. Didn't think we'd be doing this today. Butchering a load of old stuff. But it's nice to put it to use, I guess. And to be honest, I never really thought of it before, but it's actually quite good for doing stuff like this first core stuff. I think I'd be half tempted to get some more. Yeah, it's very good. It's a shame that I've stuck a load of... Got a big cleanup on it first. I probably should repaint it. But I think I'm gonna. I know you like Battlecat. You should check them out. Napoleonics. Oh, I might do. Yeah. Yeah. I was saying I had a look at some piano war games purely because they do the Napoleon, the French in overcoats, which the majority of my army's going to be in. And I think their files were not that much. About I put his gun there. I can't really know. I think their files are £42 for some overcoat French, and that comes with HQs, and I think it's light infantry and normal infantry. So yeah, I think that's quite good. Don't know how cluttered I want the space to be now. It's a problem. Yeah, it'd be good to have a gun next to him, but yeah, I don't know. Could have that firearm somewhere. I've got so here's like a little kepi and a pistol. And then we've got like a little chest there. I'm just wondering where to put this gun. I think it'd be nice to have this gun here, but I don't want it to be too cluttered. Let's put it here. I've decided. It might look rubbish there, but hey. Let's now finish off this guy. Yeah, I will check out Battle Cat though. I'll check that out tonight, I think. I think we'll stream as long as we need to finish these off. It might finish a little early. But then it'll give me time to get everything ready for the next stream. So I'm going to do my homework. This guy does have buttons that I forgot to finish. And then this guy's got a button I forgot to finish. And I think I'm going to put some blue. My bin is very... Right, I need to tidy up. This is all getting a bit messy. Right, all you... Come up here. I need you in a minute. You there, you there. You down there. We'll need you in a sec. Yeah, I'm worried this base is going to be a little bit cluttered now. But I think a first aid or medical station would be quite cluttered during the Meg Civil War, especially during the battle. Right. So the main man, our officer in charge of this little bit here. This ambulance. We're going to stick him on there. Actually, it doesn't look too bad if he's there. It would be pretty chaotic. Yeah, I think you're right, Mark. It would be probably very chaotic. Right, what was I saying? Blue. Right, a little blue on it. His bit of collar was not quite finished, and I put a bit of a yellow on there from the hair. I just hoped I would be able to look past it, but no. All right. We're done. The ambulance. It's all crammed on a little base. However, that's it. I'm going to let him dry a minute, the glue, and then I'm going to go in with a brown from the contrast paint just around the bits I've added. And then we could just go in with the basing stuff. should be using this pen really. Pen? Paintbrush. In fact, I'm not. I'm not risking it. I don't have many good paintbrushes, and that's one of them that I would consider as an okay paintbrush. Hmm. I think I will just paint this canteen white and then hit it with a contrast, because it's clearly a wooden canteen, but I've painted it like the British blue canteens. See, back in the day when I didn't know the difference, so I'm going to go in and change that. Just because I think I would like that. Ah, that's glue. Good. I've just painted my paintbrush into glue. Anyway, I know my surgical team from the ACW is based on a description of the brigade surgeons of the Irish Brigade of Antietam, where the fence and the haystack is described by Lawrence Reynolds, surgeon of the 63rd New York. Oh. With a fence and haystack, as described. What, is that their symbol? I noticed I saw a symbol of a castle on another one. 63rd New York surgeon. Let's see what that says. I wasn't specific enough in my Google search, obviously. Anyway, let's let that dry a little, and then we'll go in with our basing material. But yeah, there you go. So we've got a couple of guys there being seen to by the surgeon. We've got this guy on the stretcher here. Maybe he's waiting to go in the back of the ambulance. These chaps are helping this guy out in the back. Loading or unloading, I'm not sure. I'd like to think maybe that they're loading up here. So perhaps this guy, this officer, is sorting out who's urgent. Yeah, maybe he's checking the severity and then they're getting loaded into ambulance. Thomas says no, the surgeon took up position behind a fence and haystack on the battlefield. I see, sorry. My lack of knowledge. But very cool. Oh yeah, I've got to paint this as well. About that. Cool. Where is my baking stuff anyway? Where are you? I've had so many sort arounds recently. Can't keep on top of it all. Looks like we might not be doing our basing because I can't find it. Oh, it's right here. It's on the desk the whole time. Oh yeah, I was going to paint that white, wasn't I? Let's do that quickly. And then what I'm going to do is I could go back and highlight the white shirts on some of these guys. That'd be a smart idea, but I'm not very smart. So. Let's just paint this whole thing in. Only a few multiple figures to base my surgeon team and my signal station. Nice. One of my few multiple figure based. Very cool. Yeah, I like the signal station. Which signal station did you get? Is that the one from First Corps? That's quite cool. Yeah, I think I am gonna go back over the white. These guys' shirts. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just lazy, but a lot of my paint schemes these days don't involve me layering. When it just pays off so much sometimes. I need to make more of an effort. I think I just switched off from that when I was doing multiple figure bases. Or multiple, big units. Because it's just too time consuming, in my opinion. It could be good, worth it, I guess. Gifted to you by a friend. Oh, nice. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, it does look good, that signal group, actually, to be honest. Maybe one day I'll treat myself. Why'd you put white paint on here, my hand? That's good. Cool. Yeah, I'm a lot happier now. That white looks a bit better. Now I've highlighted, gone in and layered it. I know it's something I should do more of, but I'm just kind of just resort not to doing it. A little history about the Fire Zouaves is that before heading to Alexandria in 1861, Ellsworth and his firemen fought a large blaze in Washington. Oh, wow. So they're all formed up ready for war, and then off they bounce to do their pre-war jobs. Very cool. I like to give this a good shake, because then, show you on camera, although it's not words. The idea is it all sticks to the top, and then I use it out of the lid. I use them for this brush. Right, yeah, we're gonna chuck it on there. I normally use a bigger brush for doing larger areas, but as this is all quite finicky, there's a lot going on, I think I'll just stick with this little brush, and it's just going to take longer. Um, build up this where I've the rifle I had is just a bit higher up. It's almost on a bit of built up resin. It doesn't fit obviously flush to the ground where you would expect a dropped rifle to sit. So we'll try build the ground up around it. So there you go. Thomas said, if you ever want a Union Lancer regiment, Russia's Lancers use them. Yeah, I think you recommended them a couple of streams ago. So I am doing a Union Lancer regiment. And it will be them. Are they the Pennsylvania Lancers, yeah? Am I right? Have I got the right regiment? Pretty sure it is. Yeah, so when I get my Battle Cat miniatures through, once they're all done, they should be coming with some Lancers, which I'll add to some Perry miniatures and make some Lance Cavalry. Ugh, it's a little bit fiddly. I'm glad I did all the brown, I must admit. Gonna need a smaller brush to get through some of this stuff. Yes, the 6th Pennsylvania, says Thomas. 6th Pennsylvania are Russia's Lancers. Nice. Yeah, so that's my plan. And some of them. Although I don't know if I'll be in the mood to paint cavalry, as I've got I don't know when I'm going to start them, but I've got basically 4 Napoleonic French cavalry regiments I need to paint up. So I might be a bit blown out of cavalry by the time I get to doing some more American Civil War ones. We'll see. We'll see. Although I think Union cavalry is going to be a lot quicker to do than anything Napoleonic. It's kind of why my Napoleonic stuff I've taken on, having the French in greatcoats, it almost makes them easier to paint again. Like, because there's very little of complex uniform showing through on that because they're wearing the greatcoats and the Shako colours. You're not going to see much. So yeah, I'm hoping that would just get me through them. It'd be nice to do some proper uniform, like parade wear uniform, you know. And again, that's why I've got my Italian Royal Guard. They'll be in full dress. But I feel like that would just take a lot to paint up. There's a bunch of chaps in overcoats. With long coats, probably not. Right. Almost there. We are almost there. When it comes to sort of sculpting the carriage tracks that I plan on doing, that'll just be done via leaving grass out. So I'll just have the grass sort of worn away, and then it'll look like there's been a cart coming through quite a bit. My plan anyway. I'm going to have to get a smaller brush on. Alright, I think that's everything underneath the cart. Let's get a finer brush just to get in on the last little bits, and then I'd say we're done. Don't want to use that one. I'll have to use this one. Nice. I'm going to say, I'm not sure what that's doing it. It's got in there. Yeah, let me take a look, Tim. Tim's just sent something through. I have to reopen it. The picture's not there for some reason, Tim. Oh, the picture's not come through for some reason, Tim. I don't know if you send it again. Definitely up for looking at it. But yeah. Here it is. I've still got the little bottle to finish, but I can do that in a minute. There you go. Got a couple of guys down there, all injured, and then this guy on a stretcher. Again, I don't know if I'll add the blood effects. Not sure yet. And then to spin this one round, we've got the chaps in the back helping him get in or out. I'm not sure whether they're coming in or out yet. And the chap minding his own business at the front of the cart, wondering when he's leaving, going home for his lunch. And then that's my little Confederate kepi in the road. Wait. Might just add a bit of light to that kepi. Anyway. Yes to blood and gore, it's realistic. Yeah, I don't know what to use on it there, is the only thing. I've got some blood effects from Citadel. Try use that. We'll see. But yeah, cool. Let's quickly get this wooden tankard canteen sorted. And then it is more or less officially done. What would have been nice is maybe having a Confederate in amongst the wounded, just to show that they are helping both sides. There we go. I'm just thinking I haven't done the horse quite right. Too late. Oh no, I've not. That was an oversight on my behalf. Whoops. Oh well, too late. Can't do anything about it. Guess I won't look at it. That'll be alright. Blood Angel Red. Yeah, I've got. I don't know what blood effects I have now. I can have a quick look. Have a look. It is Blood for the Blood God, is what I've got. But it's a very old paint, and I don't know if it's alive anymore. It might be dead. Here it is in all its glory. So if I put a bit in there, then what, have it running? Don't know if I have it running down onto the. There you go. So it's sort of coming out of his gunshot and then running onto the bed, the stretcher. But yeah, there we go. And apart from maybe dry brushing the top canvas, so I'm not really sure if I will or not, we're done. I could actually maybe paint a bit on that. Not sure I'm that bothered about. No, it's not really showing up enough. It's pointless. Right. There we go. Ambulance done. And we've made good time as well. I was worried we'd be too early and then have nothing to do, but I might put a bit of flesh tone in there because I think there's a bit of white showing, which I don't want. There you go. Done. And the little bit of ammunition and like our little added bits as well as a bit of a bonus. The gun here, the little box here, and gun and hat there. There you go. Finished. So, ambulance done for the US Army. This will accompany First Corps into Gettysburg. Yeah, done. Once this dries, obviously I'll paint the rim and then I'll add grass in. But that can be a later date. But there we go. Ambulance done. Box ticked. I'd like to say a massive thank you to Mark, who actually gifted this to me and the channel, and we've got to paint it up here on the stream. And maybe I'll do a little show off video. I mean, I will do a show off video. I just don't know when, but I'll do a show off video of it. But yeah, this is gonna look awesome on the table. I think most games I'll just squeeze it in, even if it's just sort of sat on the back lines. I heard a real good thing. Someone made a nice little point. Now I've got to remember now. I'm going to say Martin at Seventh Son because I've watched quite a few videos recently, and yeah, but they were talking about having a field forge on the table, and how maybe they might use it as an actual play piece and have it perhaps grant addition, I don't know, better something to cavalry, for example. And then someone, and then he had I think he had an ambulance as well for Napoleonic stuff, and I think that maybe gave a re-roll for something if you're in range or something like that. And I think they were saying like you would roll every turn, and then on a 6 or something like that, the ambulance packs up and leaves. So it's not something they all gave, but I thought that's a really cool thing, and maybe that's something you could do, like, you know, have it sat on your back lines, and if a regiment goes up to it, they can regain stamina or fatigue or something like that. So yeah. Hello Luke, welcome in. Forgive your lateness, I forgive you. But I'm worried you might not see much because we've just finished this beauty. So yeah. Although I say finished, it's more or less finished. The base isn't finished, but that we've got to wait for this brown gunk to dry now. But yeah, here we go. Similar to your rules about things like that. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, have a bit of fun with it, right? Which I think is quite cool. Obviously, I'm going to have to varnish this as well. I keep forgetting that, but I'll have to varnish it. Because it's going to be a pain if it chips. And I've had it before in old miniatures, whether I've just not primed it quite well enough, but I've had it before with old miniatures that the paint, almost rubs off. It just looks a bit rubbish, so I'll have to varnish it. But yeah, cool, exciting. Done. Let me showcase what we'll be doing next stream. Thank you very much, Luke. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's the models have done the heavy lifting on this one. It's not really me. It's the models. It's just it's a fantastic. Perry Miniatures are fantastic sculptors and company. So there we go. Right, here we go. This is next stream lined up for us. Here we are. Here are. So this is what we're going to do next stream. And these are Perry Miniatures Fire Zouaves. So these are special thanks to Thomas, who very, very kindly donated these to the channel, and myself, mainly myself because it's my collection, but the channel as well. And yeah, these are the Fire Zouaves, and these will be from portrayed by the Battle of First Manassas. That's what we're going for. So we've got, you know, a lot of them are just wearing shirts, some are wearing kepi, some are wearing trousers, some are wearing sort of chasseur trousers, some are wearing fezzes. So some are wearing havelocks. Hello John, welcome in. So yeah, these are going to be fun to paint. These will be really fun to paint. Obviously nice sculpted minis, packed full of detail and personality. So yeah, these are going to be awesome. So I am going to look into it and just see how I want to paint these guys, because again, I was talking earlier about how, from what I've seen, they're quite ununiform. But then you can have uniformity through being not very uniform. Here's a cool little thing as well. Check that out. It's like a little halberd, which I did check when I saw this. I was like, So I went and checked online, and they did in fact have that, which is quite cool. We've got a cool officer here with a pistol out. This NCO, I assume, in a shirt, and then yeah, another guy. Something I quite like about all the sort of sculpts and stuff for early war is just having these, like, especially Manassas when it was like a hot day and they're all wearing havelocks and shirts. So it's definitely someone I want to add more to my collection. Like this guy here, he's got a havelock on. It's hard to see because it's all in white. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna. And also, we're slightly restricted on the sculpts as well. So you have the HQ as a pack of 6, and then I've got 3 packs of 6 of the infantry. So there's technically multiples in there in 3s, but I think between how we chuck them on the bases and how we paint them, I think we'll get enough variation out of it. So there we go. But yeah, so yeah, this is going to be what we do next stream. Also, Thomas is kindly donated some Warlord Games HQ units. The only problem is, I said this at the start of the stream, that they're actually lost in transit currently. They were attempted to be delivered last week on the Monday, but I missed it, so I rescheduled. No, sorry, last Friday. So not Friday just gone, the Friday before. They were meant to be delivered then. I missed it, so I rescheduled them for Monday, and they never turned up, and they still haven't turned up, which is a real shame. Otherwise, we've got that to crack on. So, yeah, the next few streams are going to be the Farzuars and then probably the HQs, which we've got a Confederate one and the Union. The Union ones I'm going to probably do, I think I've said this before, but Wadsworth for the first corps. And then Confederate, I'm not quite sure yet. Maybe something to do around Harry Heath's division. I've got Heath as a model, so maybe I'll chuck him in, I don't know. But we'll see. I'm half tempted to just keep them on one base, the HQ, because I probably want to chuck up a video on the channel anyway, just showing off the models anyway. So it'd be nice to keep them all sort of on the same bases, but we'll see. And then once that's done, we'll probably be well into the new year by then anyway. I say well in, we'll be into the new year. And then we'll decide what we do after that. So for the meantime, we'll get past these sort of channel supporter donation ones. Again, I really appreciate it. It's really nice of you guys to do that. So thank you very much. And thank you very much anyone turning up anyway. You know, we're turning up to the streams, watching the videos, liking and commenting and chatting in the streams as well. It's always enjoyable. So thank you to everyone who's done that. We technically have one more stream till Christmas, so I will be here next Sunday, unless something crops up, and I'll let you guys know. But it's so hard to say with coming up to Christmas. Everything just starts getting a bit manic. Yeah, we got that, and then like I said, we'll get these done, the HQ's done, and then I'll probably put another poll up of where we go next. And that again, I put up a post up on the YouTube today about my new Napoleonic project, and I don't know if that's something people would like to see on the channel or potentially like to see live streamed. So let me know, because obviously then that would be factored in and we can chuck that in there, or we just keep it all next to the wall, which is fine. So we'll see. But I'm going to end the stream 5 minutes early. I technically started 2 minutes early, so you can cut me some slack there. But yeah, we'll end it there. Plenty to do next week, and then let's have another look at this one. Ooh, wow, wee woo. So yeah, this officer here as well is I came up with this name a while ago, and I was going to play it on my first battle report that I do on the channel, but I don't know when that's going to happen. So this chap's called Theomopolis Mar. Officer Theomopolis Mar, captain, let's say, or short, you'll like this, Theomar. So there we go. That's Theomopolis Mar. You might see another Theomopolis Mar. He's got a brother in the Union Army, and he might lead a division or a corps one day in a battle report. But for now, this is Theomopolis Mar the Younger, and he is a medical officer in First Corps. So there we go. Bingo bango. Oh yeah, and we'll show off that blood effect again. Anyone who hasn't used blood for the blood god, Citadel blood for the blood god, yeah, it's red and it just sort of stays shiny like blood. So yeah, there we go. Yeah. I need to do a little proper basing thing, because I've got my cavalry that we finished off. I've got them muddy based. I just need to do the grass. So there we go. Right, thanks everyone who's come along. Thank you everyone who's watched this live. If you're watching this back on YouTube, fair play for getting this far. And thank you. And don't forget, we've got all the old streams and stuff on a playlist. So yeah, feel free to check them out, and have a lovely end to your weekend, the rest of your Sunday night, Sunday afternoon, wherever you are, and have a wonderful week going forward. and I will catch you all in about a week. So see you then. Bye bye.